Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's Mikey. Tonight we are going to be doing yet another Q&A. Um, First one was kind of iffy. This one I just gathered up a group of friends and family um, that I requested to ask me a shit ton of questions. Any question, no matter if it offended me or not, I hardly ever get offended. I requested that it be any question. It could be about the workplace, it could be about friends or family, it could be about sex, it could be literally about anything. So, I have here a list of 19 questions. This is not all 19 questions, by the way. It's a 2-page thing. My handwriting is huge and sloppy. So, given anybody else's handwriting, it probably would not be 2 pages. But we are going to start in not any specific order. Just because I didn't fashion the questions in a specific order. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time that this video may or may not be really fucking long. Sorry. Also, I am going to be drinking this nice little cup of whiskey and root beer, which, judge me, but it tastes good. And I may go in to make another one, also given that I don't have a lot of root beer left or any soda in the house, so it might be just straight whiskey. So, alright, let's start with the first question. Also, sorry you guys, the neighbor's sprinklers are going off. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that over my voice. If you can't hear it over my voice, I'll probably have, if you can't hear it over my voice, it's fine. If you can, I'll probably have to do the video all over again, and I'm not gonna like that. Alright, first question. Is there any type of mental, emotional changes that have occurred since I started my transition? Um, when I first started my transition, I would get upset a lot, like almost angry, but not like furious. Like I would be mad about little things, but not like to the point where I'm like punching the walls or beating shit up, you know, like I would just get mad at petty stuff, like super petty stuff, and then I would cry. I mean, it was like this whole roller coaster of emotions. Now I just get really emotional, like I cry over everything, like literally everything. Especially when I miss a shot. This whole last month, I freaking missed a whole month of shots, and I have been crying over literally everything. I'd watch every video on YouTube that I could watch, and I'd cry over it, like literally just cry over it for no reason. Some reasons were because I connected with it and I understood where they were coming from, but for the most part, it's usually for no reason at all. Okay, but since I started transitioning, my mental state has been pretty stable. There were times that I would get a little bit crazy, but not like super freaking ridiculously crazy, just like a mild crazy. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but um, like just little things would bug me. Like I had to take my shot on a certain day, and if I didn't, it would drive me insane. Um, and I had to do it a certain way too. Like I didn't like it when other people would do it for me. I was very anal retentive about it, and I'm still very anal retentive about a lot of things, but that was just something that I had to be like dead set on. I don't know. Alright, second question. Is it easier to get along with cis men or cis women? That's a good question. I have never gotten along with men, ever. I just don't ever have a lot of guy friends, and, like, when I'm dating someone, they get really jealous that I have a lot of girlfriends, or chick friends, because they're girls. And I don't know who in their right minds thinks that guys can't have chick friends, but they can. And chicks can have guy friends too, just so you know. But yeah, I get along better with cis women, and I don't know why that is. but I just connect with them more. I understand how they feel. I understand where they're coming from. And I mean, when they're on their periods, I totally get it and I sympathize with it. It's just something that, I connect with. Like, everything about cis women, I totally get it. You know, it's just how I feel about it. I just came in with another question. I'm going to add it right here in the middle. What's your favorite part about being male versus when you were a female? Okay, I'm just going to throw this out here. I never truly was a female, but there are differences, like big differences. My favorite part about being male is being able to grow out the facial hair. And I can't express this enough to you guys. When I was female, um, just a lot of things about my body just really threw me off, and I didn't understand why I was so uncomfortable with it. And when Snapchat started coming out with those filters with beards and whatever, um, this was after I started transitioning, by the way. Um, I would take a picture just to see myself, what I would look like that, and I just love it so much, like so freaking much. It's just something that makes me feel masculine, I guess. Um, when I didn't have any facial hair at all, like not even barely even any peach fuzz, I didn't feel as comfortable with myself as I do now that I am able to actually grow those chin hairs out. Excuse me. Okay. Fourth question now. Um, how did I go about finding an endocrinologist when I started transitioning? Um, that took me a long time to do. I came out again when I was 20, and it was something that I kind of just waited on because I knew how my mom felt about it. But literally all I did was go on Google, look for an endocrinologist. I talked to some of my trans friends and asked them who their endocrinologists were. Um, and I had a trans woman friend who suggested a doctor to me. And I was like, I'd be more comfortable with a male than I would a female as a doctor. And I don't know why that is, because like I get along easier with cis women, but for some reason I feel like a male doctor would be easier for me, or I felt like that. And so I went with him, and it was someone that I stuck with throughout my whole transition. Even if I moved, I would travel back here just to see him once a year. Like, not even kidding. Like, he's my favorite guy. Um, but literally, that's all I did. I talked to my trans friends. I searched the internet. Literally anything I could find. That's what I did. What was one of the... Okay, so... Question number 5. What was one of the first steps I took towards transitioning? The very first step I took towards transitioning was coming out to my mother. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do, and the most disappointing thing I ever had to do, because she did not accept me, and I figured, her being my mom, she would accept me no matter what and love me unconditionally, but that wasn't the fact, that wasn't the case, and it was devastating for me, but we moved on from that point since, and everything's been fine and dandy and great. So, yeah. Question number 6. Do I specifically go by straight, bi, or lesbian? Or what do I find attractive? I'm guessing that question was about gender, with the attractiveness. I specifically go by straight. I like women. Other people have their preferences. That's cool. I have no judgment towards that. That's your prerogative or whatever. What do I find attractive? I'm not gonna lie, there are some men out there that I find attractive. True. But not enough to want to be with the guy ever. I just don't date guys. Like, guys, yeah, they're attractive. And most of it is just like body goals or hair goals or whatever type of goals it is with my end results of my transition. But for the most part, women are so attractive. Everything about a woman is attractive. The curves in their bodies, the freaking cellulite, the birthmarks, the stretch marks, the eyes, the hair, the makeup. I mean, not so much the makeup, sorry girls, but if you wear too much makeup, that's not attractive to me. Sorry. Um, but literally just everything. Everything about women is so freaking attractive. Don't even care. Alright, question number 7. When do I let the other person know I'm transitioning? And I'm assuming that that question has to do with whoever I'm dating. Um, I let that person know way before we even start dating. I'm an open book with my transition. I let everybody know right when I meet them that, hey, look, I'm transgender. If you're not okay with that, I'm very sorry. And maybe we shouldn't be talking, maybe we shouldn't be friends. But if you are okay with that, cool. Awesome. Let's hang out more. Let's do whatever, you know. I instantly always let everybody know because it's not something that I'm trying to hide about myself. I never hide that stuff about myself. Like, it's who I am, and I'm goddamn proud of it. Okay. Question number 8. Have I ever been judged or treated unfairly by management? I want to say no, but I'm going to say yes. I did work for a company at one point in time who realized I was using the men's restroom, and someone complained about it. I don't know who, and I think it was like, I think it was a general manager, or maybe it wasn't a general manager, maybe it was like an assistant manager or something, but they saw me in the men's restroom, knew that my name was a female name on my legal statements, and decided to complain to the general manager, who took me aside and set me in his office and told me that people were uncomfortable that I was using the men's restroom and told me to use the multi-purpose restroom. The restroom that the women go into to breastfeed their children, and the restroom that people go into to basically take a shit. So every time I had to use the restroom, I would essentially have to wait for someone to be done breastfeeding their children, or I had to wait for someone to be done taking a shit. And I kid you not, like, I would wait 20 minutes to an hour just to freaking use the restroom. I was not comfortable with that, I was not okay with that, and I didn't understand why I couldn't just use the restroom. But, not gonna lie, soon after that, I did quit that job simply because I was discriminated, and I was not okay with that. Alright, question number 9. Does management even know that I am transitioning? Every time I apply for a freaking job, except for once, and I will get to that after I explain this. Every time I go for a job, I have to fill out my legal birth name, my legal gender, everything. So, not sure that they know that I am transitioning, but from the looks of it, it's obvious given like my birth name and my legal status, and then mix that with my appearance, and they're like, I'm so confused. Or is this you? This is you, right? Yeah, that's me. I just can't put everything else on there because it's not legal, and I apologize for that. Um, question number 10 has to do with that other question. Do I put male or female when filling out paperwork, and has anyone ever given me shit for my option of putting that there? I always put female. I mean, I always put male at first, and then I think about it, and then I go back, and then I put female in it because legally, that's my documentation. There's nothing I can do about it yet, seeing as I don't have the money for it, and I really, honestly, don't want to do that until after I get my top surgery, simply because it will be a lot cheaper for me to do my top surgery if I'm still legally female. And let's just say it, I'm not making a lot of money working at Pizza Hut, so yeah. But I never really have gotten shit for it. I guess besides that one time when I went to the men's restroom at the stupid company that judged people because they're a bunch of Mormons. Sorry, no offense to Mormons, but that's just what they were. Um, Question number 11. Have I ever said fuck it and just gone swimming shirtless? Great freaking question. I have done that before, but in my own backyard, in my own swimming pool, when nobody was home and the neighbors were not outside. It's the only time that I've ever done it, and I've done it a couple of times, and this was when I was living at my mom's house. I never really do that in public. I'd never done it at a lake, never done it at a swimming pool, never ever. I just 9 times out of 10, I will wear my binder under a t-shirt, like a dark t-shirt, so that no one can see my binder and no one can see my tatas. Um, it's just something that I'm very uncomfortable with in public because I know my chest is flat, but also you can tell. And maybe other people can't tell, but I can tell, and I know that it's obvious to me, and so that makes me uncomfortable. Okay, let's see. Question number 12. Have I ever gotten sexual with anyone I assumed knew about my transition but didn't believe me? And if so, how did it turn out and how did I handle it? I have never gotten sexual with anyone who didn't know that I was transgender. Like I said before, I am always completely open before I do anything or decided to make any steps forward with any kind of relationship with anybody. I don't really get sexual with a lot of people. So, I mean, they always have to know before anything. That's just how I feel about it. Like, I'm not gonna hide myself. I'm not gonna, like, throw myself in the closet like I did before I was 16. Like I did before I was 20. I just refuse to not be an open book. I would rather be honest about myself to anybody and anyone than sit there and be like, oh yeah, by the way, forgot to mention in the middle of sex, I'm transgender. It's not okay, you know? Alright. Question number 13. This is a personal question, and I appreciate it, by the way. Personal question. Uh, did you know when you were younger that you weren't in the right gender? And did you know I didn't mean to offend you by calling you by your previous name? And did you know that you were meant for something else before people started assuming? When I was younger, I actually didn't know that I wasn't in the right gender. I actually had no fucking clue what transgender was. Like, that was not even in my vocabulary. But I did know that I was different, and I knew that I didn't feel right with myself until I found out that I was transgender. Um, I knew that you didn't mean to offend me by calling me my previous name. I knew that nobody meant to offend me. Nobody could have known that I was transgender back in the day. Especially if you weren't, I mean, I've met some people who knew me back in, like, high school and stuff, and were like, oh yeah, you were that trans kid, before I even knew I was trans. And I guess I held myself pretty high with, perceiving myself as trans before even knowing that I was. And that's something that's really impressive to me because I didn't even know. But, I mean, if you called me by my previous name when we were in high school, I forgive you for that. I know you didn't mean to offend me. But if you kept doing it after I told you, hey, I'm trans, this is what I want to be called, and then just refused to call me that, refused to use my pronouns, I probably dropped you. I probably stopped talking to you because you're an asshole. And did you know you were meant for something else before people started assuming? I don't really know what that question means, but I'm going to try to answer it in the best way possible. I don't know if people ever assumed that I was just lesbian or a dyke or whatever. But if they did, I forgive you for that. Like, I'm not above forgiving people for assuming shit. It's something petty to be mad over, and I feel different than most people would, I guess, about it. And, maybe, maybe I, maybe I didn't know that I was meant for something different in my life, but I knew that who I was wasn't who I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a really hard question to answer, especially because I don't really understand it. But that's going to be my answer for it, and I apologize if it's really shortcut. Hold on a second while I turn the page. 4 more questions. Alright. Question number 14. What are some common misconceptions about being trans? That's a great question. Honestly, I don't even pay attention to what people think about transgender people. Because essentially, I don't care about other people's opinions. I feel great about myself and my body. I mean, not like physically my body, but like mentally my body. That if anybody has a negative opinion about it, they can fuck off. But some misconceptions, I would say, is that trans people are dangerous. And I'm going with like whatever negative aspects that people have to argue about it. How the fuck are we dangerous? Like, we go into the bathroom so we can use the restroom, take a shit, go piss, wash our hands, or whatever, that when we first start testosterone, we get roid rage. I know plenty of people who, when they first started taking testosterone, did not get roid rage. They did not fucking get angrier than angry and fuck shit up and throw shit and punch shit and beat on their women or men or whatever. Those are all common misconceptions. For example, when I first started taking testosterone, I would be mad, but I wouldn't be pissed the fuck off to the point where I would be beating shit. I've never been a physical kind of person. I honestly have never been a confrontational person. But when I'm mad about something, I'm not afraid to express it, just not in a physical manner. Like, I'll sit down and talk to somebody. And I was the same way when I first started my transition and taking testosterone and everything. Like, I sit down and try to have a conversation, and if someone wasn't understanding me, I'd be like, okay, this is pointless. I've had to repeat myself like 12 times, and it's making me a little frustrated, so I'm just gonna let it go and come back to it later. But if they'd push my buttons and push my buttons and push my buttons, I would go for a drive. I would go for a walk. I would, do anything to ease my frustrations, because at the same time, I felt like I've read the studies, I've read the information, I've read, the fucking, I've done, I've done my research, and I didn't want to be one of those common misconceptions. So I would do anything to ease my frustration, anything. And the main thing that I like to do when I ease my frustration is go for a drive. I love to drive. So if I'm driving, I'm calm, I'm steady and good. Which is what I like about my job now, is that if in the case that I wake up frustrated that morning because somebody says some bullshit to me, I don't have to worry about it because I'm driving all day at work. And driving calms me. So no, I didn't have a roid rage. Okay, question number 15. What are some of the biggest obstacles when transitioning? I hate to fucking say this, but the biggest obstacle for me is money. Money is not everything in the world. It's really not. And it's really not something that I should be stressing over, which I don't. I really try not to. Like, I do my best not to stress over it. But a lot of my transitioning depends on the money. I don't have insurance, so surgery is going to be a shit ton out of pocket. Every surgery that I have to go through is going to be a shit ton out of pocket. And that's just how I feel about it. Money is the biggest obstacle when it comes to my transition. I definitely do not make a lot delivering pizzas. And I've been told that before, that I wasn't going to be able to pay my bills and do this and yada yada blah blah blah. Cool. Fine. But I'm happy with my job, like, that's what matters. I'm happy with my job, and I give a fuck less what anybody else thinks or says about it. Even if I'm struggling to do whatever, I'm not stressed about it. I will get there. I will cross that bridge when I get there. And hopefully I get there. But if I don't, I'm not going to stress about it, It's just, it is what it is. Okay, question number 16. Sorry, my phone's about to die, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. Question number 16. Any advice for someone who is questioning transitioning? Yes. Make sure you know 100%. I've had this video before. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you talk to somebody, whether that be family, friends, therapist, counselor, whatever you gotta do. Just do your research and make sure that you know 100%, because otherwise you're gonna beat yourself down and regret your transition. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. And either way is okay. But just, always make sure that you're 100% sure. Question number 17. What am I most afraid of with the surgical portion of transitioning? Any fear of regret? I have no fears of regret. But the most thing that I am afraid of with the surgical portion of transitioning is that I'm not going to be able to feel anything. I have a lot of arousal in my chest area, which for a lot of people is the same. It's, it just is what it is. And I'm scared that I'll never be able to feel that area. Same as my bottom area. I'm actually standoffish about doing bottom surgery because I feel like I will never have any feeling down there. Therefore, I will never get an orgasm, basically, is how I feel about it. And I want to be 100% sure that I get my feeling down there. That's one thing that I'm most scared of. Okay, question number 18. What is the one side effect of taking tea that I didn't expect or want? No side effects. Honestly, I've done all my research. I've looked it up. I've read it all. Everything that I'm going through, I have expected it. And there were no surprises for me. I did all the research that I could possibly find and made sure that if I went through a certain phase or anything like that, had a certain change, that I would be prepared for it. Which is why I say make sure that you're 100% on everything. Okay. Question number 19. Who was I most nervous about coming out to? My mother. She's my best friend. She's everything in my life. And the thought of her rejecting me because of my transition scared the living shit out of me. And that's what happened. Do I regret it? No. But we went through all of that, and, it came out to be a good turnout. So that's what mattered the most. Question number 20. What's the worst part of pre-surgery life? The worst part about pre-op life is the gender dysphoria, basically. Looking down and seeing that I have a chest and knowing that it's not supposed to be there is the worst thing. Um, it makes me feel emasculinated, and it makes me feel like when I look at men, cis men, who have flat chests, or maybe even just bulky chests that are muscles, makes me feel like I'm a fat guy with man titties. And I'm not fat, but I have man titties, and I don't know, I don't like it. I fucking hate it. I despise it. If I could just cut them off myself and dispose of them or give them to somebody who needs them more than I do, I would fucking do that. But it's one thing that knocks me down and makes me feel very subconscious of myself, conscious of myself, sorry. So yeah. But anyway, that was my Q&A for the day. My phone is about to die. So I'm going to give this some time to let upload. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Sorry the video was so fucking long. I really apologize. There were a lot of questions. People asked me a lot of questions. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for asking me your questions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are what makes these videos worth making, even if my phone's at 6% in the end of the video. Totally cool with that. I just want you guys to know that I really appreciate you guys. I did gain a new subscriber out there. Thank you, whoever you are, for subscribing to my page. Thank you guys for liking my videos. Thank you guys so much for viewing my videos. I really appreciate all of you guys out there. I don't know if I have any fans or not, but if I do have fans, my heart goes out to all of you guys. You guys are the best. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are really what makes these videos worthwhile for me. Just seeing you guys watch the videos and everything, like knowing that you guys are watching them and stuff, makes me feel good that I can, be some kind of inspiration or anything to anybody, and it really means a lot to me. I hope you guys know that. Alright, I'm gonna let you guys go now. Bye.